Hello everyone, welcome to Past Preserver, and I do apologize to the people who are wanting to follow this I'm not getting rid of it. We're not done with it. I've just been doing a lot of shorts. It's been hot in this building. That little vent fan's been doing a great job keeping it somewhat cool in here, but it's still about 90 degrees out, and that means it's even hotter in here. So I want to give you guys a little project update on the A. We've been doing a lot of shorts, but it just really hasn't been something I felt like filming. I want to get this thing done. We went ahead and painted up the wheels. These tires are shot, so I didn't care about overspray. The white walls are all just peeled away to nothingness. And yeah, it's not very good. I got the radiator somewhat mocked up here. I did go online, and you guys, I really should be making more videos on this because you guys paid for a lot of the stuff I've been putting on this thing with your views. So thank you very much. I appreciate it. I think I made around 250 bucks last month, and that was roughly what I put into this motor. So far, there's still some things I got to buy. I've got a used starter on the way. I've got a bottom elbow for the coolant line. I still got to get a couple rubber hoses here, but that way they'll be straight lines and the right way. I still need to find an oil fill neck. Was able to get a set of the radiator mounts. They got little rubber pieces underneath them, big spring, and then this is really supposed to be up here with the cotter key going through it, but I think it's supposed to sit on top of the fenders, which I don't have mounted yet. I'm pretty sure those come over. And looking at it, they somewhat do. There's a little bit of thickness there. Not a whole lot. I may have to put washers on it. But we got the fender looking somewhat decent. It was pretty rough down in here. You can probably see where it was welded and patched. The other side was really bad right in here. I put some filler in there and a bit of filler in there, and it's not bad for a 100-year-old car. But back to the A. Yeah, that's where we're at on the radiator hold down. A few other things I ordered. I got a whole gasket set, and thankfully it came with a new carb gasket. I did make one for it, and then I broke that out and realized it had a gasket in it, so I went ahead and swapped it out. I do have a Zenith carburetor. I think that's a Zenith 1. It's hard to tell. Can you guys see anything? No, it looks like it just says Zenith. I don't see. Normally they have a number after them. I need a new rod for the choke that goes up into the cab. Put new bolts in here, new gaskets. The distributor is the one that we found going through a barn, actually. It had the drive shaft on it. This other one I had was on a Model A that was set up like a air compressor. They just had like the frame and an air compressor on the back, and it has like a governor built in, or an auto adjust. Maybe a auto adjust for the points. Well, it's basically like a governor. It's got springs in it, but I'm not totally sure what's going on with this. Let me know, because it was on like a power unit more than a actual car. I don't know if they converted it over at some point. It started life as one thing, or it was built as a power unit. But it had a Ford Model A engine as well. The distributor, I ended up getting a new cap on. Yep. And it was about $70 between the rotor, the topper, and this cap piece. And then I think these are like $2 or $3 for the set of wires. For the set of copper tabs that act as your wires. But down in here we got an updated plate so you can run modern points in it. Seemed to just go right in. Didn't really have to do anything on that. Now on the cap here, I did have to do some adjusting. This rotor was rubbing against a couple of these ends, so I had to take a file and basically file them back. I set these, I think, at 24 thousandths. I've read people say from like 23 to 32 thousandths, so I kind of took it around 24. Took my little filler gauge and just took a file and kind of hit it around on each one and filed it down. You gotta make sure this thing's sitting square on there though, because it'll just sit loose without the top cap and being clamped on. But if it's like that, you'll never know what you need. Got the valve cover back on and sealed up. Found a couple bolts for back here. I'm still missing the foot throttle. I need to get one of those ordered. I do have one linkage to run the actual throttle. What would happen is this would come over here, and you'd have like a linkage, and then your gas pedal would be here, and then you'd have another linkage going up to the steering rod that's controlled by this lever. I couldn't find just a single head stud to put in here, so I took a long bolt, threaded it on one end, and sent it in and tightened it down. So it seems to be working all right. Everything's in place. Got the muffler temporarily in place. I want to put a bead of sealant around it before we go putting it permanent, and I kind of like to paint this muffler up, so just for the test run so we can hear that iconic sound that these A's make with that cone-shaped muffler. I got the steering shaft all loosened up. This here was pretty locked up, both of these. You've got one for your throttle and one controls your advance on your timing. So basically there's a rod that goes straight across here, it looks like, and then this one goes down to your throttle and your gas pedal, and then the linkage comes over and up. Hopefully we'll be able to show you that in a future video when I get that ordered. This here is a 7-tooth setup, and the other one would be a 2, which is a newer style, and it's got a couple of different adjustments on it. But this here is the more basic, non-adjustable one. Thankfully, the bearings were all good in here. It was just this side shaft was all locked up. But as you might be able to see, we have some movement going on. Well, maybe. If I had the correct steering wheel. I've got the right wheel for a 30 Model A, but I have the wrong shaft. As you'll see, this is supposed to be a spline shaft, and the wheel I have has a keyway in it. So I just have it kind of on there for aesthetics more than anything. As you can see, I have the custom short throw shifter for this thing. No, but this was actually off that power unit as well. They had to bend it down so the hood could sit over it, otherwise it was up in its way. This weird little rod here actually connects the brake pedal, which is way up here, onto the main brake control, which is here. And it goes here, and that goes back to your brakes, and up front to your front brakes, which are controlled by these little levers and big rods. I'm missing the whole parking brake assembly. It would be over here. It would actually mount onto these 2 bolts and should have a rod going back to this, and then this goes back to your rear brakes through another set of rods further back there. See that moving there? That should go back to the emergency brakes. So this whole piece pivots. So it's a really simple braking system. I'm just missing the rods. I have 2, one for the front and one for the rear, and I'm missing the other 2. Another neat thing about this rod is this here is your brake light switch. So while this is all the way back, it would be pushing in on that, and when you push forward on the brake, it'll let off, and it'll complete this circuit here, turning your brake lights on and off. Moving on to the body, I've done a little bit of work here. What my ultimate goal is, I want to make this a steel roof, come in with some little like tubing, go across the top, get some flat sheet steel, maybe put some ribs in it for support, and make this thing a steel roof. I just don't like the vinyl. I had someone comment, or maybe it was on a Facebook group I posted, but they wanted to know why. And it's like they said it messes with the whole rigidity of the bottom. I might have to brace up down in here too then, but I'm going to mount this on the body or on the frame before we go figuring this out so everything's squared up. But pretty much I want a steel roof because these things just, if it sits outside, that top goes bad, water gets in, and it'll just ruin the car. And I want this thing to last, you know? It's not going to look perfect. I mean, look at these fenders. It's not going to look perfect, but it's going to last. That's my plan. If we can get another 100 years out of it, that'd be great. I was asking a lot, I know. But so for the top, since I'm not going to have vinyl on it, I'm thinking about some Herculiner bed liner. I used that on that mini truck I had in here, and I really liked it. It was textured, so from a distance it'll be kind of a flatter black and with some texture to it, so it'll kind of look vinyl-y. I am going to put the trim back in. We've got all this bead trim that goes in here and around, and basically looks like that when it's on it. So I might just body match that, because I'm already going to body match that. I can't see a point in tearing that all out. So then I'll just paint it all blue. Plan on cleaning the fuel tank out. I'm gonna have to figure out how to remove it. I do need to clean the fuel tank out before we go painting this though. It's not bad, but it definitely needs a cleaning. Now, something I just started to mess with that I never really did before. This thing is ready to come out of here. Great, they went ahead and got all these little rivets off. Never even noticed that was ready to come out. That would have made painting the interior a little bit easier. Dang it. Okay, so never even thought to try it. Let's see if that'll just... It will. Well, I wish I would have known that sooner. Now I can clean up in here and get this all painted good. Very nice. And that'll make cleaning that tank easier. Then it looks like I can just, might be able to just put screws through it. Looks like it was just screwed in place to start with. That's a threaded nut. I thought these were riveted. Well, if that's the case, then fine. Make it easier. Throttle cable there. Sure. I'm okay with that. That means I can get up in here, clean this up, and paint it too. Maybe get that shut-off working. Oh, mud dauber's nest. And there's where your choke control goes. And your dash goes on the other side. Or your gauge cluster, your fuel gauge. I know they make a special tool that goes in here to take this out. Maybe I ought to see about getting one of them and tearing this out and redoing the float and the seal in here, just so everything's good, because everything I've read online, you fill it with too much gas, it can slosh out of here. So we'll try and avoid that. But cool, I didn't realize that thing was just ready to pull out. Moving on to the driver's side fender I have, this was all kinked up here and I had to get it all down, and it tore up a little bit here. It's not great, but you get back from a distance, it don't look terrible. Yeah, it don't look terrible. It's a giant repair here, and they got screws through it. And, you know, it's not bad. It's better than the other fender was. This thing is all kinds of beat up. There was like big patches of Bondo down in here. Yeah, this thing's pretty rough, really rusty right in there. The other one, not so bad. I need to steal this inner bracket. There's a support bracket that goes up and hooks here. I need to get that out for the fender. But other than that, big glob of weld. And yeah, it would have taken a lot more work to get this one looking at least close to what that one looks like. And then these bolts didn't want to come off. I still got to fight this last one, get it off so I can have my license plate and my tail light. But that's about where we're at with the body. I need to get a new set of these upper pieces. They're getting pretty rough. They go up here above the door, kind of like that. But you know, if I could find a nicer set, I'd definitely put a nicer set on it. The doors are in really good shape, but I still need to get them cleaned up and painted. I have one window that can go into, I guess, the doors. The front bumper, the back bumper, I need to get those done up. I think I'm in debate on what color to paint them, because they are definitely too far gone. You know, that chrome's never coming back. They're too far gone for chrome, and I don't have re-chroming type money, so we're just going to paint them a solid color. And I just don't know if I want them black. Like, that'll be blue, and then I feel like there's just too much black going on with the frame and everything. But then again, it might be too much blue. Maybe I do them red to match the wheels. I don't know yet. Let me know what you think. Ultimately, I'll make the decision, but let me know what you think. I'm very weird when it comes to colors. It's like I'll do something one way and then I won't like it and I might do it another way. The hood's in pretty good shape overall. I'm really pleased with it. Still got to get the inside all cleaned up there. but the outside of it's been sandblasted. This guy had this whole car sandblasted, which was really good and really bad because he never actually repainted anything. So it's all sitting with kind of flash rust, surface rust. But thankfully that cleans up fairly easy. Quick little backstory on this. I bought it about 7 months ago at an auction, and the previous owner passed away in about 2014 or so, and they didn't sell the stuff till way later. You know how that stuff goes. But basically, he had this rebuilt. It's got 80 thousandths over pistons in it. He never got to put oil in it though. So it looks like the engine and transmission were both rebuilt because everything in there looked really fresh. And I found some empty boxes over there of bearings that kind of match what would have been in this transmission. So either new old stock or they look kind of older boxes. But so they've both had some work done to it. The clutch was new, or really fresh looking. The radiator, it looks like it may have been used once or twice, but it's pretty nice. So this guy was trying to do this upright. He had the body sandblasted. A bunch of sand was down in the crevices and stuff. You can check out the video on that. But yeah, we got that all cleaned up and painted in there. So basically I've just been piecing this back together. But when I got it, the motor was locked up, so we had to tear it all down. It's a good thing we did because I put new gaskets in it and everything. Now everything's been freshened up again. So we're getting closer to having this thing running. Here's the part that goes up in front of the radiator. Radiator would sit up here and it'd kind of bolt onto the fronts of the two fenders. And I believe this was a new part. It looked very fresh. It was missing the little things that go out here, and I think they're part of what holds the bumper on. They're like spacers. But thankfully this old one had 3 out of 4 on it. They were just a real bear to get off. See, I do think this car was painted red at some time. I found some remnants of red on that too. So I don't know. Red would look kind of nice, but I'm already committed with my blue. That was my two color choices I was going to go with, red or blue. Here's the visor that we painted once and then ended up repainting because it fell. And as you can see, it turned out a lot better. We're just going to do this at the same time. I paint the hood and the doors and the body and everything else. This I kind of made an exception with just because I had it out and wanted to get it painted. This here is what holds the headlights. It goes across the front. And it's far enough off the body that if it's a little bit of different shade, it shouldn't matter too much. So that's kind of where we're at with everything. The A is definitely coming along. Hopefully here soon, after I get that running, I'm going to get the little body mounts. How this thing mounts onto the frame is it has wood blocks down here with bolts that go through them. They go the whole length down. I need to get under here and paint this too before I go putting it on. So I need to get new wood blocks and set this body on there after I get this engine run. I just didn't want to do all that with the body on there because it's easier to work on this thing with the fenders off, and you can get right up in here, down in there, and you're not fighting anything. Because with those fenders on there, they all kind of come out to here and then go up and around, so you really got to bend over to get into this thing. So hopefully here in the next week or two, we'll have this thing up and running. I'm waiting on the starter to come in, the spark plug. I want to get the radiator all done up. Got a water pump on the way. And I do have a rebuild kit for the water pump. It was cheaper to buy an old one. I've got a rebuild kit over there. And I'm just going to do and put it in there. So save me some money. Because this thing is definitely a nickel and dime sort of deal. So with that being said, hopefully next time we see this, we'll be trying to get it running. I will see you in the next one. Leave a like, hit subscribe, and have yourselves a great day.